Hello, my name is Alicia House. I am a music therapist and a psychotherapist in private practice, and I also work part-time at Homewood Health in Guelph, Ontario. The teen brain is different from the adult brain in a variety of ways, but one word that I want to focus on in particular is plasticity. What does this mean? Well, simply, this means that as a teen, your brain is developing, expanding, learning, and growing in so many different ways every single day. And this can be really a beautiful process because you're learning about who you are, you're learning about what you're interested in, and you're learning about different things that you might be skilled at or might want to become skilled at. And while this can be a really beautiful process, sometimes this can impact mental health and well-being because it can also be a really overwhelming process. It can take some time to navigate your identity. It can take some time to figure out what you might be interested in, what you might be skilled at. And so your brain can feel at times like it's a really overwhelming place. But remember to focus on the beauty of it as well as some of the challenges that might come along with this process. So what we see in teens who develop a skill or create an activity that they're really interested in and practice it repeatedly is an increase in brain function in lots of different ways. So when you're practicing something repeatedly, for example, practicing a musical instrument, you're memorizing that instrument and the music that goes along with what you're playing. You're learning literacy skills, you're engaging your visual and auditory structures in your brain. And so you're really allowing your brain to increase in function and to develop some really important skills. And those skills that you learn from practicing an instrument or whatever skill you're practicing, they can be applied outside of just that one activity. And so it's really important to develop a skill that you're really interested in because the things that you learn from doing so repeatedly can be transferred outside of just that one activity. So most commonly, I'm seeing teens with anxiety, depression, self-harm, eating disorders, and related challenges. And I saw an increase in that, especially throughout the pandemic as teens were feeling isolated, and maybe you were in this position too of feeling isolated, alone, not sure how to cope with your experience. And so some warning signs that you may need help or that you may need to reach out for help either from your family or from a professional would be, maybe you're experiencing a lack of motivation. Maybe you're feeling this deep feeling of sadness and you can't seem to just shake it off and get on with your day. Maybe you're feeling like you're more hungry or less hungry than usual. And maybe you're finding yourself wanting to be isolated and not interacting with people, whereas before you would have been the first one to be at the hangout with your friends. And so these are all things that you or your parents can look out for as signs that you may need to reach out for some help. And there's no shame in reaching out for help. There's so much beauty to be found in going on a mental health journey and well-being journey. So music therapy is essentially the use of music in a therapy process to be able to work towards improved health and well-being. And it differs from other forms of therapy because of the inclusion of music in the therapy process. So for example, in just counseling or talk therapy, as we would call it, you might just be talking to someone about the challenges that you face, and that's a really wonderful form of therapy. But in music therapy or any other type of creative arts therapy, we're bringing in different creative ways to help you work towards improved health and well-being. And this could be through writing a song about your experiences. It could be through developing a playlist to help you feel grounded and calm. It could be through listening to music together. Could be through developing some mindfulness tools through music together. So there's lots of ways that we might incorporate music, and that's what makes it different from other forms of mental health care. Music can really bridge a lot of gaps. And sometimes, teens will come to me and not feel very comfortable to open up with words, but maybe they have a song that speaks to their experience or has been really meaningful for them. And maybe you have a song that's really meaningful for you in your own mental health process. We can listen to this song together, and then this might prompt a discussion about what you might be experiencing. And so this is just one example of how music can really bridge the gap and can be a really important creative strategy in therapy. Music can be used in so many different ways. Whether, we're experiencing trauma and need to write a song about what we've experienced, whether it's listening to music to help you feel grounded, whether it's playing an instrument together to maybe explore a feeling or emotion, maybe it's, doing some artwork together while listening to music to process a life experience or a circumstance or a set of emotions. Music can be incorporated in so many different valuable ways, and it's so important in mental health care for those reasons. In private practice, I will often partner with or consult with other mental health practitioners who are involved in the care of the client that I'm working with. And so, for example, I might be focusing on a music and arts-based trauma process with somebody, and then I might be talking to the doctor involved in their care about the kind of progress they're making in therapy, and then that can inform the work that the doctor might be doing with the patient or the client in my care. And so I think it's really important to have a circle of care in mental health treatment, because you might be focusing on one specific concern as a therapist, and then you might have a doctor or a psychologist or a social worker involved to treat another aspect of the care, but it all works together, and in the end you have a really well-rounded treatment model for the patient or the client that you're working with. For example, for me, I had one patient where we were developing a songbook to work through some different past trauma that they experienced, and as a result of that, they were able to work through and process that trauma, and then I was able to partner with their family doctor to update them on progress, and that informed the care that the doctor was providing to the patient as well. I think that music should be incorporated into everyone's mental health care. And I think some of the barriers to this becoming more accessible or more well-known is that not everybody yet knows the therapeutic value and the psychological value of music in mental health care. And so I think as therapists, we need to be able to advocate. As doctors, you need to be able to advocate for these sort of creative arts services being included in every sphere of healthcare. And so projects like this are a huge part of that. But beyond this, there's so many other ways in which we can advocate and grow and understand how music can be implemented. Research studies as well. In general, we need just more information and more advocating for the importance of music in mental health care. Music is something that everybody turns to when they feel, or most people turn to when they feel upset, when they need comfort, when they need to reinforce a feeling of joy or sadness or anything in this realm. I would suggest, creating maybe a morning mindfulness routine that includes music as a way to get your day started and develop that sense of sort of mental health care routine in the morning that incorporates music. I would suggest that, if you're really interested in incorporating music throughout your day, that you create a playlist to either match a mood or to help you feel grounded when you're feeling upset or anxious. And so that morning mindfulness coupled with that kind of playlist component throughout the day that can keep you grounded and centered. I would also encourage, some music and imagery. And so maybe you get home from work and you've had a stressful day, you got home from school and you've had a stressful day. Put a piece of music on that provides a sense of peace for you and draw out your emotions. And if you like to play instruments, I would encourage that as an outlet as well, that you can incorporate daily. And you can use it to express an emotion, you can use it to process an experience that you had throughout your day. So there's many, many ways that music can be incorporated in a more structured way in your daily routine. Music listening has incredible benefits. And if we go into it with the intention of just being really concentrated on it, maybe processing through an emotion, just like I mentioned in the previous question, this can be incredibly, incredibly beneficial for health and well-being. And so playing a piece of music or several pieces of music that you might be interested in or might help you to concentrate and focus, and really just being mindful of what you're listening to and attending to. And then perhaps afterwards making a journal, entry about what you listened to and how it made you feel. If you're making that structured over time, it's going to just become a normal part of your routine. It's going to allow you to feel like you have this healthy coping mechanism to process your experiences. The importance of making playlists and the impact of sharing it with others is that you're giving others a tool for processing their own emotions and experiences and regulating themselves as well. So this could be a really great activity that you could do with your friends, where you maybe create a playlist together, and you can use it for mindfulness as a group. You can use it for, tracking how you feel throughout the day. You can use it for regulating certain emotions or expressing certain emotions, meeting you in those moments of joy, perhaps. So it can be incredibly beneficial. And again, just another way to help you regulate, express, and process your emotions. Learning to play an instrument can have many positive effects, can increase brain function in a lot of different ways, and can give you some skills to incorporate outside of just that one activity. And so it can also give you a sense of accomplishment and self-esteem. And writing songs can be a really great way to maybe process a life experience, express different emotions, process trauma that you may have been through. And so these activities are not just, it doesn't just extend to that activity itself. The benefits extend way beyond that activity and can give you a really great sense of self and help to promote processing of different life experiences. Yeah, so performing in a band, you are creating a sense of community with others. You are allowing yourself to be part of something that's bigger than yourself. Again, you're gaining that sense of accomplishment and self-esteem as accomplishing something within a group and within yourself. And so it can be a really great way for you to interact with others musically, as well as interpersonally. In my practice, quite often, I am using music as a form of mindfulness. So I'll often start a session and end a session with a grounding exercise that uses music. And music can really help to promote that sense of mindfulness and calm in more effective ways than sometimes just verbal mindfulness can. And so it's really important to be able to incorporate it because it can really, really affect such positive change in health and well-being, and incorporating it into a therapeutic process is even more impactful because you're in therapy for the purpose of working on your mental health and well-being, and so that mindfulness component just helps to further promote what you're already working on in therapy and gives you skills to use outside of the therapy space as well. I always state at the beginning of a therapy process with somebody new that music is really powerful and it can be really vulnerable, right? And it can bring up a lot sometimes emotionally. And so we want to make sure that we're aware of when we feel safe in the therapy space and when music might make us feel unsafe, and be really honest with that, and then soothe ourselves through that experience, or maybe listen to a different piece of music that we know is grounding and that we know will help us bring that feeling of safety. And so I would just say the most important thing to do would be to be aware of how you're feeling as you're listening to music, as you're playing music, as you are engaging with music in some capacity, and be aware of those impacts that it's having on you. We all have that intuition, that self-awareness that we all need to be in tune with as people. Music has always played such a big role in my life, and I've always known in some capacity that I wanted to use music in some way to work with others and to help others see change in their health and well-being, because that's what music has been for me. Music has been my source of comfort. Music has been a source of stability when a lot of things have felt overwhelming. Music has been a way in which I could develop my sense of self and tune in to who I am. And so I hope that for other people as well, and it's why I'm a music therapist. I often will write songs to express different life experiences, and I will often sit and listen to music when I need a sense of peace or calm, and I'll play music when I need to reinforce an emotion or just connect to myself again, and that's why I want to enforce that in therapy as well. If you are someone who really connects to music, maybe you've tried some different forms of therapy before where you've just been talking with someone and it hasn't fully clicked for you, I would encourage you to try out music therapy. I would encourage you to see what it's like for you to experience your mental health within a music therapy process. And I would encourage you to incorporate some of these strategies that we've talked about today within your own daily routine to really start using music as a tool for mental health and well-being. Thank you so much.